Here's what's coming up in episode 207, K-Town from Mysterious Radio. How close are you sometimes on the edge of an eye roll or just straight up laughing in the middle of it and not being able to hold back?
Yeah, I've had to mute a lot. Okay. I've had to mute a lot. You know what I mean? And I didn't know at the time that a long time ago, that used to be a graveyard. Okay. We would walk in that field sometimes and, we'd find a hip bone or a femur and pick it up as a kid. We didn't know what it was. I didn't know, So we saw a full-bodied entity or ghost or haunting, whatever we want to call it. And she looked as solid and real as you and I, man. And I said, do you ever sleep in that bedroom? She said, no, I don't sleep in the bedroom.
But
yeah.
So here's a pretty safe one. Did we land on the moon?
Welcome to the Big Seance podcast. I'm Patrick Keller of BigSeance.com, and this is a place for an open discussion on all things paranormal, but specifically topics like ghosts and hauntings, paranormal research, spirit communication, psychics and mediums, and life after death. So basically, anything that pops up in my paranormal world. The candles are already lit, so you might as well come on in and join the Seance.
Mysterious Radio, hosted by K-Town, who is our guest today, is a show for those that are truly open to a mind-expanding experience. A place where top scientists, journalists, and researchers dare to look way beyond the edges of our reality to analyze these extraordinary events. Join K-Town as she discusses subjects surrounding real paranormal activity, unbelievable UFO phenomena, sinister secret societies, mysterious time slips, powerful ancient artifacts, terrifying creature encounters, shocking conspiracies, gruesome serial killers, unexplainable disappearances, supernatural places, and much more. Are you ready for a mind-expanding experience? Y'all, I love K-Town. We go way back to when I first started podcasting. Let's pour the tea. K-Town, I'm so excited to have you on the Big Seance podcast. Welcome.
What up? What up? It's been a while, man. I mean, you and I haven't talked really in years, so I do appreciate you reaching out to me and get me on your show. So
yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. It had been a while since I've kind of peeked into your world, and I saw a Facebook ad for the show, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna check that out. And you have been on fire.
Yeah, I've been working, man, like crazy. I mean, you know that. I mean, working full time and doing a podcast full time is not easy. And I've just been lucky enough to be able to cut my full time job out and do this full time. So I appreciate it. I mean, I like that, my ad came across your feed there. It makes me feel good.
Well,
that makes me feel real good.
It hit the right person. It hit the demographic, man. It popped up there. I saw it.
A podcaster. That's cool. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's working then.
Yeah, there's your proof.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Once again, we're talking about Mysterious Radio. That is K-Town's show. And, I was a listener of an old show you had way before Mysterious Radio. You had, and I'm forgetting the name. That's how blast from the past it was. Yeah. You had an LGBTQ podcast. What was that called again?
Same-sex dialogue.
Same-sex dialogue.
Yeah.
Have you brought that back, or is that just sleeping right now?
It's sleeping right. I like it. Yeah, it's sleeping, man. We put it on ice right now. It's just sleeping. And, but the shows are so good. We go back and listen to them because they're hilarious. So we're thinking about doing a reboot of that if I can talk Kim into it. But yeah, it was fun. So yeah, you see, we go way back.
Yeah.
I go way, way back.
Boy, those were definitely a window in history. I mean, that's podcasts like that and mysterious radio, but just in a different way. But podcasts like that at the time were very needed and definitely served an important purpose. And so, that was an awesome show. I'd love to hear that one come back.
Yeah. I think listeners can search for it on YouTube. I think maybe we have a couple of episodes up on YouTube. So if they search same-sex dialogue, it'll come up and they'll hear us, having a good time talking about issues, in life. But yeah, that's like 2015, Patrick.
Yeah. And then
long time.
We connected because I nerded out on that. And then all of a sudden I see you're creeping up with this paranormal stuff, and you launch Mysterious Radio in 2016. And so it's like, well, who knew that you were this mysterious paranormal nerd too? What made you jump into this world?
Well, I'm a fan of podcasts that, you and I produce. I listen to a lot of them, and I thought, I was already doing a podcast and we couldn't actually keep up that and work too. So I decided on my own to just do Mysterious Radio. Kim thought it was a great idea, and people love hearing things like, we talk about things that you'll never hear in the mainstream, you know what I'm saying? And weird and crazy things, and people are truly experiencing those things, including me. I've had my own weird experiences that I can tell you about later on, but yeah, it's really happening. And I thought this is the best subject that I can think of, that if I was to do something on my own that I would really, really enjoy doing. So yeah, man, it's been a blessing, and the show is getting bigger and bigger all the time. And I'm just lucky that I'm still doing it. So I'm having a good time over here.
Well, you definitely don't get bored in this topic, especially when if you look at the umbrella that you're covering on your site, we've got real paranormal activity, unbelievable UFO phenomena, sinister secret societies, mysterious time slips, powerful ancient artifacts, terrifying creature encounters, shocking conspiracies, gruesome serial killers, unexplainable disappearances, and supernatural places. Who's going to get bored with that?
Yeah. There you go. See what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I like to cast a wide net too, because just for my personality, I get bored easily just covering one subject. The only subject that I know that I wouldn't get bored doing every day. And I've actually launched a new podcast doing strictly paranormal, because believe it or not, Patrick, a lot of my listeners are like, I don't like the other stuff. They love it. Don't get me wrong. But some hardcore paranormal fans just want to hear paranormal stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I just started another one called Paranormal Fears, and that is just going to be all just straight paranormal stuff. But I am still going to do paranormal interviews for Mysterious Radio along with the other stuff that I covered. But really, I get emails all the time. People are like, I just can't believe, some of these things that you are, exposing to us as new listeners and that I've never heard of before. And most of them are truly grateful for it. You and I have a platform where we can allow these people to, talk about their research and just put it out there. And then we allow the listener to make the final decision. I never try to sway someone else's, I never try to just persuade them whether or not my guest is telling the truth or if I even believe them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you do that, but I try to stay out of that because I don't want to influence people. People just need to be able to think critically about these issues that we're talking about and come up with their own decision. So I feel like there's too much of that. You only need to pay attention to this and listen to that, and kind of like, it's a lot of censoring going on, just plain and simple. There's a lot of censoring going on, and I don't want to ever do that. And I feel like slowly but surely, it's been 6 years. I've been lucky enough to know to stay out of the way of inserting my own opinions and allowing those that appreciate that I'm giving my guests a platform to share their research without feeling like they're going to be ridiculed or, grilled, or I'm trying to discount what they're saying, because that's just not what I do either. But they appreciate it. So if you stick with it and just try to show people, listen, I'm just the conduit for these people to share their stuff. you will slowly but surely gather the right fan base. So that's what I'm working on.
This conversation is real right now in this period in time, but I want you to be honest. Like, how close are you sometimes on the edge of an eye roll or just straight up laughing in the middle of it and not being able to hold back?
Yeah, I've had to mute a lot. Okay. I've had to mute a lot. You know what I mean? I'm serious. Or I'm like, yeah, listen, I'm telling you stuff that my listeners want. I don't even say it, but listen, some of it's just BS, man. I'm serious and I can tell. I've been doing it too long. I can tell. I can look at that wavelength and I can tell when it's a bunch of BS coming out. You know what I'm saying? But still, I don't let them know that. And yeah, I roll my eyes and I laugh at some of the stuff that they say, you know, but sometimes you can't help it. You know what I'm saying? I keep my finger on the mute button all the time. Seriously, because some of it is just, I don't know, but I allow them to say it, you know, and I'm always respectful. Always.
And what do you hear? What do you hear sometimes from your wife, Kim, about some of the topics?
Oh God, Kim's rough. Kim's like, she's pretty bad, but you know, I mean, this is stuff that we would never, you know, divulge to them, you know, of course, you know, we're always
right.
But yeah, I have my own opinions. Trust me on a lot of stuff, and I keep them to myself though. But yeah, you feel me? I mean, you
oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Had them on your show before, so yeah.
You know, I'm curious though, what were some of the experiences, whether they be from childhood or, I mean, what leads somebody to being so fascinated by these topics? Because sometimes, like in my case, it's not really a wealth of personal experiences that got me into this thing. But, you know, for most people, it is. When did you start, you know, loving this world of mystery?
Well, I'll tell you a couple of incidents. One was when I was probably about 12 years old, me and another guy, he's gone now, he passed away, but we were like 12 years old, we were outside playing, and there's like a area back behind our house it runs the length of the neighborhood. It's an empty field, right? And I didn't know at the time that a long time ago that used to be a graveyard. Okay, it was a graveyard where poor people would be buried, and they would be buried in boxes, you know what I'm saying? So they couldn't afford caskets. So wooden boxes, they break down after a while, and then, you know, the remains will come up, you know. So we would walk in that field sometimes, and, you know, we'd find a hip bone or a femur and pick it up as a kid. We didn't know what it was. I didn't know, you know.
Here, Fido.
I'm serious, man. Human remains all over the back of the neighborhood. I mean, everywhere. You know, it's just crazy. But one night when me and Mark, his name is Mark, we're outside and we were looking towards the back of that hill. It was pitch black back there. And I kid you not, a flame, some fire came out of a spot on that hill. And it just blazed for a little while. It blazed and then it went back down into the hill. And he and I looked at each other and I said, "What did you see?" And he said, "What did you see?" I said, "I saw fire." And he said, "I did too." And we ran home.
Is it that mysterious swamp gas that you always hear about? Like nobody ever knows what that looks like. You always hear about it, but it's like, what's that look like?
Yeah, nobody knows what that is. No, I think that was a concoction from, Alan Hynek. It's one of his concoctions. But yeah, it was something. It was a flame. Serious, man. It was a fire. A flame came out of the hill and burned for a good, I'd say, 5 seconds, and then went right back down the hill. So I knew there was something. There were things happening in our world that were just crazy and unknown. And I went home and told my mom, about it. And she was like, "Stay off that hill." You know what I'm saying? And so I'll tell you the next thing that I know happened to us. And me and Kim, we lived in an apartment complex. There was a lady that lived next door. So if you imagine, Patrick, I have a door. This is a building. It's a condo complex, and you go down a hallway. You got to go inside to actually get into your apartment. So we lived at the end of that hallway. And then on our same side of our door, there's a door to an apartment. And then you go on up, then there's another door, right? So there's 3 doors per hallway. We didn't know that we lived beside an apartment that was actually a 3-bedroom, and both of those doors went into that one apartment. Okay. So Kim comes home one day and she looks down the hallway, and there's a old lady going into the door right next door to us. She goes in, and I guess Kim says she saw her with a little girl going into that door. And I thought, she said, honey, I saw, a woman going into that door, and she had a little girl with her. So maybe Ari have somebody to play with. And I thought, okay. I thought my son was the only kid in the building. That's good. I said, if I see her out, then I'll get them together and they'll play on the playground or whatever. Well, I come in, from work, and I going in my apartment, and I look up, the lady standing there going into the door, and I said, hello, how you doing? And she just, with a cold stare, man, she just looked at me, just turned her head to the left and looked at me and didn't say anything. And I thought, okay, I went on in my apartment. I said, she's a bitch, you know what I mean? I said, I spoke to that woman. She didn't say nothing to me. So Kim said, she was like, well, she didn't say nothing to me either. And I thought, well, I guess I won't be having my son play. She's not friendly,
Rude.
Right, real rude. And then we came back from going somewhere on the other side of the building. Well, we met another lady from Texas. She's also a teacher. And so we were talking to her, and we said, this is your place? And she said, now she's at not the door right beside of us, but the next door down. She's going in there. And I said, how many bedrooms do you have? And she said, this is a 3-bedroom. And we were like, can we just take a peek and see how big those are? And we went in there and looked, and I said, wait a minute, that door next door to us, is your door too? She said, yeah. She said, my kitchen table's in front of it. I said, so you live here with your mom? She said, no, I live by myself. I was like, what are you talking about? You live by yourself. I said, we saw a lady going in that door twice. I saw a lady go in the door. Kim saw a lady going in the door. And she said, no. And then so we just started talking about how she got the apartment. Well, the lady that had the apartment, she died in that bedroom that's right near that door. And she said, well, she died, and she died here in this bedroom and stuff. And her family wanted to offload it real quick or whatever. She bought it. Yeah, I told her, well, she's not gone. We saw her going in your door twice. She said, nobody can get in the door. You see a kitchen table's there. So we saw a full-bodied entity or ghost or haunting, whatever we want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She was there, and she looked as solid and real as you and I, man. We could not tell that the woman wasn't alive. I mean, she was in old clothing. That was her, man, trying to go into a door where she used to live. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was it.
Did the current tenant, did she have any experiences?
No, I asked her. No, she said she hadn't experienced anything. And I said, do you ever sleep in that bedroom? She said, no, I don't sleep in the bedroom. But yeah. She said, I don't sleep in the bedroom. She said, sometimes I do. She said, but no, I sleep out here in the living room on the couch or whatever. But I told her, I said, that lady is, I'm telling you, an old lady's tried to go in that door twice. And so what I'm wondering is like, who's the little girl that Kim said she had her, she was holding the little girl's hand going into that door, man. And we were always having stuff blow out in our apartment, like bulbs. And I mean, nothing would stay, all kinds of night lights and all kinds of stuff would just keep blowing and stuff. So man, yes, that woman was absolutely haunting that place. Absolutely. So yeah, I knew there were things. This is before I started my podcast. Yeah, there are things happening. I thought, I'm really interested in that stuff. And then I don't know how I came across a podcast, but I started listening to them and I thought, yeah, this is the genre that I want to concentrate on, because it's interesting to me.
You grew up in Tennessee, right?
Yeah. I'm in Knoxville.
I mean, I think the amount of lore and stories and mystery in Tennessee, I've even heard. So that also has to be some inspiration.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of haunted neighborhoods. People can look online. I mean, they do a lot of ghost tours downtown now. I don't know about with COVID going on, but I know there's a couple downtown really good ones where you can tour the buildings. There's a building downtown that's I think it's the TVA building right in the middle of like Gay Street, the main building. I worked there as a security guard, and I came in to do my rounds, stopped in my truck, did my rounds, went into the building, was talking to the other security guy. And I asked him, I said, "Do you get creeped out being in this building by yourself?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, there was one guy that worked here. He said they told him to go up to the top in some of those offices. And, I guess they have to do rounds all over that building. But he came back down. He came back down, man. He said he threw the keys at him. He said he had a look on him where he was terrified. He threw the keys at him and said, "I quit." And he walked out. But he said something scared him up there. But it's creepy. I mean, that's one of the buildings on the tour, on the ghost tour here in Knoxville. But yeah, there's a lot of paranormal stuff here. I think everywhere in the South, really, because of, all the things that have happened in the past. The BSU Theater downtown Knoxville is very haunted. I've had a local psychic medium tell me that too. She's worked with police to solve crimes, and people can look her up too. Her name is Pat, and they call her the Happy Medium. She's about 80 years old, probably. I need to go over there and bust out an interview with her real quick before she leaves. You know what I mean? Before she's about ready to cross the finish line. But yeah, she's a good one. And let me tell you something, Patrick. We went to her house. Kim and I went to her house, and she does a channeling every month towards the first of the month. So we went to one, and I hadn't been in no channeling. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. And she's been doing this for years, and she knew Hans Holzer. Uh-huh. And she went, we were in her living room, about 13, 14 people, and they told me, they said, listen, we don't know what happens, but when she gets ready to channel, you see this dog right here? Watch this dog just lay down, go to sleep. She said, if there's a baby, the baby would just go to sleep. Sure enough, we were talking, and she got up. She was in front of everybody in her living room. And that dog just started, you can see him get comfortable, and that dog went straight to sleep, man, when she started channeling. And when I was looking, when she was channeling, Patrick, this is what happened. This is what I saw. I saw Pat in front of me, encased in total white light, and I could no longer see Kim or the girl Amanda that we went with or anybody else in that room. There's just like 13 people in that room. The only person I could see was Pat, unless I turned my head. If I turned my head and looked directly at them, I could see them. But if I turned back and look at Pat, she was in like a tunnel of light, dude. Seriously. Now, Kim and I, when she got finished channeling, you could tell it wasn't her voice. She was talking in her whole demeanor and everything that she was doing and saying was just not her, okay? But this entity, apparently, I won't say entity, this guide, comes through to her and gives advice about things that are happening in the world and just general advice about life and stuff like that. Well, when we left there, me and Kim were in the car, and I said, I said, you know what? I don't know if it's just me being nervous or what. I said, I heard a high-pitched humming sound when she started channeling, and I said, I could no longer see you sitting beside of me. I said, that's why I kept turning my head looking at you, because I couldn't see you anymore, because all I could see is white light. She said, me too. Literally, man. We were in the car. So that really happened. It's my first time seeing someone do that, but I heard it was her aura. When they channel like that, their aura just gets, it's so prominent around them that you can only see them. You can't see anything else. So
that's awesome. So it must have been some kind of state of zen to put like the dog to sleep.
The dog went to listen. As soon as she got finished, the dog woke up. As soon as she got finished, I looked down and the dog just woke straight up. Man, I've never seen anything like that, ever, ever, ever. They said every time. One time there's 2 dogs over there. Both of them went to sleep. As soon as she started channeling, you know what I'm saying? So
wow,
it's some amazing stuff. Maybe you might, want to get her on your show. I know you do psychic mediums all the time, stuff like that. So
have you always been fascinated by mediumship?
Yeah, I have. And I know you've had some readings, and I know I've had some of my guests to actually give me some off-air readings, some really good ones. One of the most amazing ones I've ever had, the girl's really young and she hasn't had any training, you know what I'm saying? Because some of them, it just happens so quick, like she's in her early 20s and it's just starting to be, it's coming to the forefront for her. And so she hasn't had any type of training on how to keep out the spirits that come to her. So
how to shut it down.
Yeah, shut it down. She can't shut it down. And they're in her room at night talking to her and scaring her boyfriend and all that stuff. But she gave me an amazing reading. I mean, amazing. As soon as I sent her a message on Facebook and said, hey, I'd like to have a reading with you, she said immediately she started getting messages for me. So she wrote them down. She said people started just coming to her because I said that. So, man, it makes me think that they live and their energy lives in the ethers. Like they can, if you're talking about them or thinking about them, they hear us. They totally hear us. I mean, and I just sent her a message on Facebook, and she's like, I started getting messages from, and it happened to be my mom, to describe my mom. And she knew what I was talking about the day before. I mean, she was in the same room with us when I was talking about her the day before I had the reading to Kim. So she acknowledged some things that me and Kim were talking about before I had the reading, so it doesn't take much to bring them around us. That makes me feel good. I've learned a lot about mediumship, and it really makes me not be scared of death. I'm no longer scared of it. Everybody's scared of the unknown, but it's something that is going to happen no matter what. And I really, truly in my heart believe that that's something that we're not supposed to be fearful of. So that makes me feel good. That's one of the best rewards that I've had, doing Mysterious Radio.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always said that's the first and the biggest benefit that I've gotten out of what I've always called my spiritual shift. When I started getting into this, the first thing was just this relief and losing a fear of death and what happens and all the dogma and oh my God, I'm gay. Am I going to hell?
Yeah.
All that, Southern Baptist that was, beat into my brain. And it really was, I would describe it as a relief, just like,
Yeah, it is a relief. It is a relief, and it's wrong though. I'm glad you said Southern Baptist. That's not to say all of them are like that at all, but we hear it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We've heard it. You've heard it. Kim's heard it. God knows he's heard it. But it's a comforting feeling to know that no, it's nothing to fear. And I honestly, and with everything in me, I believe that it's nothing to fear. It's no judgment, and it's a part of, I think, what our parents have grown up to, they've heard these things, so they continue to pass that along. But, as generations die out, I do believe all that will go away eventually, hopefully. That type of thinking will go away. But yeah, mediumship's really cool. It's one of my favorite things to talk about on my show, because I just love hearing their experiences. And if they're a medium that investigates paranormal activity, I really love it.
Well, with everything that you've heard and the readings that you've had and, any, research you've done in the area, like, what do you think happens when we die? What happens?
I think there's a period where we're totally aware of what's happening. If it doesn't happen quickly, I think if we know what's coming, we're aware of it. It happens quickly. I think it's a little different for those souls that experience that, but it's not anything where, let me tell you something. One of the most profound things I've heard is from a remote viewer. His name is Courtney. I can't remember Courtney's last name. It may come to me, but Courtney runs a remote viewing school. And one of his most talented remote viewers, he remote viewed JFK at the moment he was getting assassinated. Okay. At the moment, the kill shot moment. And he said that at the time that it was happening, he couldn't believe it. Okay. So he's in his actual consciousness, and he can't believe that he's taking these bullets where he's taking them. And he is shocked, but in seconds later, he's okay with it. He's not scared. He's okay. And he's at peace with it. You know what I'm saying? He's gone. We're pitching a fit on this side, but on his side, he's fine with it. And another instance of that is when Kim's dad came through to her through a medium. He's an incredible guy, and hopefully you've had him on the show. If not, I'll give you his information. Her dad came through, and he said that when he died, it was the most unbelievable thing ever, and he wishes he could do it again. He said that. He wished he could die again. Who says that? I mean, who said, you know what I'm saying? Where people are, they make you so scared on this side to die. He's trying to do it again. He said that. It's one of the most profound things. Yeah, I believe that it's just like that it is amazing. And you hear about, Steve Jobs dying, man. He's saying these things going, oh, wow, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At the point of death. It's nothing to be scared of. It's a must for everybody. But I think it's just a matter of just trying to control people while they're here is the reason why they're trying to make a point that you need to be scared and scared of this and scared of that. You know what I'm saying? It has really changed me. It's changed me dramatically. Seriously, this is what I've thought. At the age that I am now, I feel like I've totally been asleep the whole time. I've totally been in a state of ignorance is all I can tell you. A state of ignorance, truly. And I say that honestly, because I just wasn't aware of a lot of things, and now that I do my show, I'm really interested in finding out things on my own. And I'm making sure that I'm using my own judgment on things and I'm not being influenced one way or another. And, someone else is not trying to tell me what to think. They're giving me the other side of it, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Don't just give me one side. Give me the other side too. I want to hear it. And then ultimately I will come up with the best answer for me, or I'll make the best decision for myself. So yeah, it's been a ride, man.
Yeah. You earlier were talking about canceling, and, one of the things that you cover frequently on your show is conspiracies. And I have always been kind of afraid to approach it, not only because, I guess I don't get into a lot of conspiracies, so I only tend to have things on my show that resonate with me. However, these days it seems like some conspiracies can be dangerous, so I've always been afraid to even approach them. Are there conspiracies that are fascinating to you? And then, how do you approach conspiracies? You just open to them and let them have their say?
Pretty much. I think that you're right. Some of the stuff is out there. It's pretty far out there. Even for me, I'm like, wow, this just sounds absolutely crazy. This sounds so crazy. But I think about the person telling it. And I don't want to discount anyone's experience. It wasn't my experience. So who am I to discount it? Someone can easily discount one of my experiences because, they didn't see it. They didn't experience it. So I think about that. But I just come at it from the perspective that I'm just allowing them to share their research. And I always make sure that I reiterate to tell my listeners, that you just come to your own conclusion. Don't shut people down. Keep an open mind. You can't get to the bottom of any answer about anything if you have a closed mind and you're making a knee-jerk decision on whether the person is believable or not. Because I've had people that they sound believable, but after going back and thinking about it and digging in it a little bit more, I'm like, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? But I still keep it to I keep it to myself. But, my listeners, at least they appreciate that, hey, I'm bringing it to them. But yeah, you have to tiptoe around some of it. Some of it, I'm just going to be honest with you, I won't touch it.
Yeah.
Some things that I just won't talk about. I'll let somebody else do it if they want to do it. But there's certain ones that I'm really interested in that I think are out there anyway that we've heard about for years that I will have my listeners, or I will expose my listeners to, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bring it to them. But yeah, if you're asking that, there's some that I won't touch for various reasons. It could be reasons for advertisers too. I have to think about that too, because this is my business.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, I think people have heard me enough that have listened to the show for years. They know that I'm not a person trying to push any type of agenda ever. It's not my job to do that. I'm not trying to do that. They really and truly respect the fact that I'm just a platform to allow these people to say it. But it has to, now listen, I have had people take things personally, like I said things, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I didn't say anything. My guest said it. Please don't try to take it out on me, But
I've been there.
you gotta, You have to stand in your decision to allow your guest to be on your show. You don't tell me who to have on my show. I'm sorry. This is my show, and we have who we want on there. And I respect your decision. Please respect my guest decision. Please respect my decision. For the most part, that's the type of people we're attracted anyway. You know what I'm saying? So we've been lucky in that way.
So here's a pretty safe one. Did we land on the moon?
They say yeah, but I think no in my heart.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, in my heart of hearts, yeah. And it's different things. It's different. I'm looking at a different area of quote unquote conspiracy. For me, they call it conspiracy. I think it's just no. And let me tell you this, something for your listeners to think about. Maybe they can look
this is good because I know I probably have listeners who love conspiracies and they never get it on my show.
They never get it. Okay. So listen, Bill Nye, perfect example. He says on his show, Bill Nye, he's not producing the show right now. They may come back with it, but it might be because of this. But he said on one of his shows, they were talking about space trash, not space trash, but how to better, how to not keep putting trash on the planet. What else can we do with it? One of the ideas was to shoot it off in space. I don't know who came up with that brilliant idea, but someone said it. and said, just shoot it out there. You know what I'm saying? And he says, well, we can't shoot it off in space because this is exactly what he said. We live in an enclosed system. We live in an enclosed system. We cannot leave the planet. We can't leave the planet. We can't go out to the moon. We can't do any of that. So Bill Nye said this, okay?
Uh-huh.
There's so many books now that tell people that, listen, this planet is not what they told us. This plane of existence is not a globe. I'm not telling you I'm a flat earther, but I'm telling you that with everything in me, and if people study the book of Enoch and they listen to all these, there's another one it's like produced. I think that book came out maybe in 1920, something like that. But it goes into details telling you that we are not on a globe. We're not on a globe. And for many reasons, they have never, ever been able to get outside this planet. And also, if you look at, I think it was Operation Fishbowl, why in the world are they shooting nukes straight up in the air, trying to hit something? So they were hitting, it was hitting something and blowing. What were they doing? And a lot of people think that they were trying to test, I guess, the structure that we're enclosed in, that Bill Nye talked about on his podcast. But yeah, I don't think we can get out. I think it's just like the Truman Show, and it's all a big, I hate to say conspiracy. It's a big effort, I would say, a big effort to keep that from us, from humanity. And that's just my opinion. And I've came to that conclusion by reading different books, looking at different research, talking to different people. And that's my deal on it. It's great, man. The shows are great. I've been lucky in that they have never, said anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people are just their mind is blown. But yeah. I tell them, listen, don't take it from me, really. But I'm my own person. I can come up with my own decision. So can you. You can say, you know what, K-Town, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? And fine. You're crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine.
I don't think you're crazy. I love you, K-Town.
Oh, thank you. I love you too, Patrick.
Oh, we got the love here today. Who have been some of your most fascinating guests?
Oh, wow.
I know it's a hard question.
Yeah, it is. I've had hundreds on now. Michael Horn's good when he talks about UFOs. He did one, I'll tell you what's fascinating. I'm getting ready to put one out where he came on my show, I think it was about 2016, and it was talking about things that are going to happen in the future. So I went back and I stumbled upon that show, Patrick, and I'm going to play it for people, because it's been years later. So let's see if some of that stuff has come true.
I love those moments.
Some of it, from what I've heard so far, some of it has come true. From just glancing over that show, and kind of some of the things he was talking about has come true. So I am going to release that for people. But Michael Horn's a good one. Let's see here. Carrie Cassidy's a good one. Carrie Cassidy talks about the secret space program. She's just a fascinating person. and she has a great show as well. Linda Moulton Howe's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just had her on the show. I'm going to actually release another show with her here shortly. And let me see. Let me give somebody else another really good one. Keith McCloskey. Keith McCloskey talks about the Atlaw Pass incident, which still fascinates me. I don't know if you've heard of that or if you talk about that on your show.
Mm-mm.
The skiers go up in, they're going into the Ural Mountains in Russia, and they find them in a way that you would expect to find bodies that have been in vicious car wrecks. They don't know how these people were killed, but they ran out of their tents in, like, I don't know how cold. It was really cold, and with no clothes on, man, scared of something. And a lot of them froze to death. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Atlaw Pass incident, I did show on that. But Keith is a great guy. He talks about the Titanic as well. You know, the Titanic, there's a whole big deal about that. You know, it's not just a bunch of rich people going out on a ship and it's sinking and they die. There's a whole story.
There's more to
about that. Yeah, there's more to it. It's great, some great books about it too. So I invite people to look at that. You know what? I have also amassed an incredible library of books doing the show.
Oh, that's one of my favorite parts of it.
Yeah, a ton of books, man. You should see the shelves of books that I have.
My audience loves that I do, and it's super nerdy, but I have a shelving ceremony every time I finish a book. It's like, oh, and the angels come down and we figure out exactly where we're going to put it. And then you step back and look at it and go,
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I know you have to have a massive book collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And also I got a cool studio too. That's one of the things that, you know, I've been able to do. I have a studio now, and it's pretty big. I mean, it's 2 bedrooms, like it's like an apartment size, you know, 2 big rooms, and got a living room there where, you know, got a big 77-inch TV and PlayStation hooked up to it, and, you know, a cool area where I've got a Bigfoot research thing in the corner and my X-Files and Star Trek stuff all over. I got a bunch of autographed X-Files stuff. You know, I'm an X-Files fan, so.
Geek heaven.
Yeah, I love it. I have to send you some pictures of it. It's cool, man. So, doing good over here, really.
Well, I want to try something. I told you before we started recording that, you know, I perused a lot of your episodes recently and your topics, and I wanted to see if you could, like, when I read off a subject, let's see if you've got like one sentence.
All right.
Play a game here. This could be a game show.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, you ready? All right.
Yeah,
Ted Bundy.
Oh man, he's just a vicious Mr. Rogers.
Oh God, that's freaky to think about. Okay, 5G.
Yeah, it's rolling out, and they're really concerned about it, and I think we need to be concerned about it too.
Halloween.
Oh, Halloween! It's my favorite. It's totally my favorite. And the movie, I still haven't seen it yet, so.
What?
I plan on saying it. No, I haven't
the newest one.
The newest one. Yeah, the newest one. Yeah, the newest one.
It was pretty good. I liked it.
I said, okay.
Oh, okay. The Conjuring franchise and Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, Ed and Lorraine. Just, you know, I love them. I mean, they are just, man, they're fascinating people. The Conjuring movies are really good, whether they're true or not. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a lot of Hollywood, you know, stuff in it, but it's still good.
Paranormal tourism.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. Plan on taking one here in 22 days in Wilmington. So,
yeah. I'm getting ready to go to Waverly Hills for the first time in April.
Oh, really? Okay. Is that when they start back up there?
I don't know when they start back up. I'm kind of tagging along with someone, so I don't know when. I don't know all those details, but I'm super excited.
That is very cool. That's not too far from Knoxville, so that's on my bucket list too. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mothman.
I believe that happened. I believe those people experienced something really strange. You know, when all that stuff kicked up. Yeah, I believe that's a real phenomenon.
Let's see. Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood. Supposedly, I think that was a murder. My gut is telling me she was murdered, and but what people are saying is that her husband and Christopher Walken were caught together, and she saw it, and so They took the opportunity out in Catalina Island, got rid of her.
The Phoenix Lights.
Oh yeah, that happened. That totally happened. I would love to know what it was, but yeah, those people in Phoenix that night, they witnessed something very special. I mean, that was iconic sighting. Amazing sighting, really. Bigfoot's real, man. Bigfoot's real. The Patterson-Gimlin film, at some point, the universe said, yes, you guys are going to see this thing. And I do believe that is an absolute real creature. But has it been seen again like that? I don't know. But at that time, I think those guys really saw it.
I haven't always gotten into Bigfoot a lot, but I have been hearing a lot recently, once again, starting up again, talk about that film.
Yeah. And Bob's a good man. You can tell Bob he's not showy. He comes off as a very, very credible guy, incredibly kind and sweet. And he's not in it to, for money or anything. But, I had Kim look at that film, because she's a personal trainer. She has been for a long time, over 20 years. And I told her to look at the film and just tell me what muscle group she sees. And she was like, yeah, I see the lats and the traps and the, she was naming off all the muscle groups. And that just wasn't possible back then. You couldn't make a suit where those muscle groups would flex. You know what I'm saying? When you're walking, it's just not possible. And so that's one of the things that really convinced me. And then why would you make one with swinging breasts? That's just added difficulty. No one's going to choose to do that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I would have never in a million years, again, not that I just study Bigfoot, but I would have never imagined that questions in somebody's mind would be, let's look at the muscle groups.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that until you said that.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a different angle, man.
Yeah, see? I've got you thinking now.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about it a different way. That was a convincing thing for me because, you go back and look at the movies at that time. There was nothing come close to that. If it was a suit, whoever that guy was should have been employed somewhere in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And all those films should have looked better than they did. But nothing comes close to that. I mean, that is a real creature, and you can tell it's a real creature. But yeah, that's not been a subject that I've concentrated on, but here lately, looking at the film and listening to the research and kind of, reading some of the books and things like that, I've really gotten into it more, especially listening to one of the more prominent researchers break the film down. I love listening to that. It happened. It was a real creature. For real.
Well, thank you for playing our game show.
Yeah, you gotta thank you for inviting me.
What is your most treasured possession?
Oh man, what is my most treasured possession? It's gotta be my X-Files collection. I mean, that stuff, some of that stuff you just can't find. Yeah, it's my X-Files autograph collection that I have. I mean, some of it is actual storyboard notes that they have. Also, my Project Blue book. This from the producers. I mean, they had this stuff, and this is how they created some of the episodes. And there's one in there that's the whole Skinwalker episode, and I have all their notes and all that stuff. So yeah, that's it. That's one of my most prized possessions, man.
I love it, man. Rock that with pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this has been awesome. We could talk for 3 hours, but give us your final thoughts and where people can find you. And so if there's anything coming up you want to mention or just any final thoughts.
Oh, you're good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Patrick, for having me on your show, man. Yeah, I'm K-Town, and I do Mysterious Radio, and you guys can catch my show on any podcast app. I normally release 2 or 3 episodes a week. And also I have a new show. It's called Paranormal Fears. Strictly for paranormal. It's just hauntings. Actually, I'm not going to cross over and do any type of psychic medium stuff. People just want to hear straight hauntings and paranormal stuff. So
because you listen to your audience, I love it.
That's right. I listen to them. Yeah, I listen to them. So that's what they want, and that's Paranormal Fears. You can catch that on any podcast app. And I appreciate it. I do want people to continue to support shows like Patrick. I mean, Patrick's got a killer show, and I've been a big fan of your show for years, man. I feel like you're one of the ones that really take pride in it, and you take your time producing your shows, polishing them up, making them sound great, and you can tell. And that's why your show stands out above many others. But I'm humbled to be on your show, and I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Oh, thank you. You rock. And I'm excited to, jump back into your world a little bit. It's been in my podcast app. It's back on there. I'm like, what's going on with K-Town?
Yeah. I appreciate it.
And now I have a new podcast to check out. I didn't know about the Paranormal Fears.
Yeah, man. I'm going to put my all in that one as well. So I love it. So it's none of this ever seems like work to me, ever. And I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, Patrick. So, make sure you stay in touch with me, man. Okay?
Thank you to the following super paranerds who support the show at patreon.com/Big Seance. Michael Henson, Anne Marie Sullivan, Natalie N., Kim Robb, Josiah Lorenzo, Susan Davey, and Amy Park Gedicke. My supporters at the Parlor guest level, who can be found at bigseance.com/Parlor guests, are Allie of Hocus Pocus Collector, Miranda from SpookyLittleHalloween.com, Chelsea from Cheers with Chelsea, Linda from ShimmeringMoons.com, Ann Rekovich from OzParatech.com, Janae Michaels from Greyhouse Tarot and Farm Artifacts, Mitchell Coombs from MitchellCoombs.com, Dina DeCastro of Dina DeCastro Astrology, In the Whisper of the Winds.com, Lana and John of Carbon Lilies, Sarita Cockerham, Christine Rath Selhe, Mindy Kentop, Hope Battaglia, Melissa Armour, Diane Rax, Nettie, Bruce Williams, Christopher Kohler, Jim Budd, David Rubenstein, and Norman and Linda Keller. That sound you just heard was the above and beyond. There's not even a category for your level of support fireworks display, because I have 6 awesome listeners who support the show at the $10 level. Peggy Hagan, Glenna Becker, Steve Skinner, Kevin Gilbert, AJ Meredith, and James Wilfong. So thank you, Peggy, Glenna, Steve, Kevin, AJ, and James. And thank you, Paranerds. For show notes, including links to anything we may have mentioned in this episode, visit bigseance.com. And you can continue the discussion and hang out with a great community of Paranerds by joining us in the Big Seance Parlor on Facebook. Want to hear your voice in a future episode? Go to bigseance.com/feedback to learn how. Thank you so much for listening. Unfortunately, it's time to blow the candles out, but we'll see you and light them again next time.